I think a difficult time for me personally was when I was not really sure where my life was going to go after matric, especially. I was so confused. I'm like, should I go to high school? Should I go on a mission? What's going to be happening? Kind of vibe. But then I think what really helped was just to remember that my life has just started. I think at times I can kind of feel as if, this is the end of the world, it's do or die kind of vibes. But I think just having a different perspective, seeing things at a grander scale has really helped me to move past that.
She's very trusting. So I think we kind of work out well because we're kind of the opposites of each other, which is what brings the unity. So I think even amongst the dynamic of all five of us, we just have a strong support system where I know I can trust my sisters and like they're not going to judge me, especially her. And yeah, I just hope I can do anything remotely similar and give her the same feeling that she gives me.
I think for me personally, I talk to my sisters, I talk to my mom, I talk to my dad. I really just have a great support system, which I know a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
But I think it really helps me to relieve that stress, to get rid of that anxiety at times.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Giving Spring Podcast. Today we have Sahara and Victoria joining us today, and we're going to be talking about what it means to be emotionally resilient. Welcome, guys. Before we get started into all of the questions, can we have you guys introduce yourself and just let the people know more about you, what you do, what's your favorite hobby over the weekends, just so that the viewers can get to know you more.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ciara. I'm 19. I really enjoy crocheting in my free time. I currently work as a medical assistant and I'm also studying allied health. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Victoria. I'm currently senior in high school. I enjoy dancing, cooking, and yeah, I'm preparing to go study culinary next year.
Wow, awesome. So I have a chef and a doctor in my house. That's amazing. So before we dive into our questions, what does being emotionally resilient mean to you?
I feel like for me personally, emotional resilience is just working in spite of what the circumstances are. So kind of pushing past what's happening and being strong, I guess, for whatever's happening. It's kind of difficult to describe, but for me personally, I think it's just being able to show up despite what's happening around you.
I agree with that. I think it also means taking care of your emotional health as well, practicing self-care and amidst all that's going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people in like today's life, especially like youngsters, they don't really focus that much on like emotional and their well-being and mental well-being and stuff. So how do you cope with that? How do you cope with like mental health challenges when you're maybe facing anxiety during a exam or maybe depression because or super stressed out just because life is just really challenging? How do you cope with that?
I think for me personally, I talk to my sisters, I talk to my mom, I talk to my dad. I really just have a great support system, which I know a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
But I think it really helps me to relieve that stress, to get rid of that anxiety at times.
On my side, I think I more enjoy being alone and kind of listening to music and praying. Oh my word, especially like when it comes to exams. Praying, and sometimes I wish I could listen to music during the exam so that like I could relieve the stress, but most of the time I think just by doing something I love, also dancing, whenever I feel like I'm getting too emotionally overwhelmed, I'll take a break and then I'll maybe go dance and then usually I'll be fine afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's perfect, well said. So has there ever been a difficult season in your life that has taught you resilience?
I think for me, I changed high schools like 4 times in the duration of those 5 years. And like I kind of started to get the feeling that I'm not settling and I wasn't certain that anything was ever going to be consistent in any elements. So I think that was a difficult time where I really had to look at everything from like a long-term perspective, that like it's only just a segment of my life and it's only begun. But at the moment it did feel emotionally draining, and that like it was the last option because I kept changing. When I feel like I'm finally resting, I felt like I kept changing. So I think that's it was a difficult time.
I think a difficult time for me personally was when I was not really sure where my life was going to go after matric, especially. I was so confused. I'm like, should I go to high school? Should I go on a mission? What's going to be happening? Kind of vibe. But then I think what really helped was just to remember that my life has just started. I think at times I can kind of feel as if, this is the end of the world, it's do or die kind of vibes. But I think just having a different perspective, seeing things at a grander scale has really helped me to move past that.
I can relate so badly to that because it's so stressful. I mean, especially now with you being in matric and you also when you were taken back to that stage where you're just like, life is just feels like it's happening to you, and now it's like, because your whole life you focus on like, I'm going to the next grade next year, I'm going to the next grade next year, and now when you get to that moment in matric, it's like, oh my word, what am I going to do next year, and like what options are available for me? Do I study? Do I do this? Like, it's so overwhelming. So I like how you mentioned that. But I also think, like you're saying, how praying really helps you. So how does your faith play a role in your resilience?
Faith for me just puts everything on an outer perspective. I think the only reason why I'm able to stay emotionally strong is because like I always know that there's more. So the same way we're just speaking about how after high school you feel like you're lost and that it's the end of the world. I think because I have faith, I'm like, okay, if this doesn't work out, there's still this part. There's still now, even after you pass away, there's still more stages to look forward to. So I think that faith kind of builds the emotional resilience that it's never going to really end, and that there's always something to look forward to. So even when you feel like everything is going wrong, there's always a new stage you can enter. So I think that's how my faith kind of strengthens me emotionally.
I think for me, I'm really glad that we have a Lord that has a plan for us already in set. And despite us not knowing what exactly the plan is, we can just try our best to put in our daily efforts to getting closer to that plan. And even though things don't go according to my plan or how I see things going, I just know that, as Vicky mentioned, there's a greater, grander plan and scheme of things to look at. So, yeah.
That is so absolutely true. Lord is always on our side, no matter what life throws in our ways, even though we do have difficult times and life does get challenging. But since you guys have each other, and you mentioned that you also have other siblings, right? That you guys are 5 together, which is a heck of a lot. I feel so sorry for your parents having 5 girls is crazy. But I think it's also the equivalent of having like 5 guys for other parents out there. But how has, being sisters helped you get through those hard, difficult times?
That's a great question. I think, honestly, for me, my sisters are like everything. They really inspire me. They tell me when I'm doing things, that was not so great, that was good, keep it up. They're really so encouraging. They're just awesome. I'm so blessed, honestly. Like, they are really great. They are the biggest motivators, the biggest critics. They're just awesome. Yeah, they really challenge me to be a better person each day.
For me, me and my older sister's dynamic is more like she tells me to relax. Because I'm always busy, and I feel like I'm the person which kind of like brings her back to earth. Not that it's always a good thing, but she's very trusting. So I think we kind of work out well because we're kind of the opposites of each other, which is what brings the unity. So I think even amongst the dynamic of all 5 of us, we just have a strong support system where I know I can trust my sisters, and like they're not gonna judge me, especially her. And yeah, I just hope I can do anything remotely similar and give her the same feeling that she gives me.
I like that you guys have each other's shame. I think, it can be really stressful out there, and going through it alone, man, I salute anyone who goes through life alone, because that is very, very difficult. But what are some habits that you guys have that helps you remain emotionally resilient or emotionally strong?
I think, in our family in general, we have these what I in my mind call them checkout sessions, where we kind of like criticize each other, like, that was not your best moment. Maybe try not to get into that space again. And I think that kind of helps me to become more emotionally resilient, so that when I'm interacting with others outside of my home, I can be able to be like, okay, my sister told me this is not the way to behave, so I'm going to keep it together. That what I find helps me remain emotionally resilient.
Yeah, I do agree with the family bonding sessions because it's like a truth session where and usually I always take the lead in those sessions, and I love telling the truth to my family. Kind of brings closeness, and then when they tell me the truth, I have to take a second and actually listen because I'm like, but I think it just creates that emotional strength, because sometimes having the people you know and love, and the people which love you tell you stuff first, just allows you to have a different perspective on the way you do things.
So, yeah, I agree with that, right? I think there's a lot of ways that we can allow ourselves to just, stay calm. And it helps so much when you have someone in your corner that's going to be there, like, tell you exactly, yo, this is what's up. Like, this is what you're doing wrong. And I think it helps you also prepare yourself for when you get out of the world, where the world is so judgmental, to help you handle that commentary or judgment from others. So it helps a lot. So you don't have to feel so, oh my word, this is so bad, oh my word, I look ugly today. Like, just judge yourself for that. But are there any tips that you can give to other people to stay hopeful when life feels overwhelming?
I think taking a step back always helps. Finding something you enjoy doing, do something you enjoy doing, try something new. Those are my tips, honestly. You just kind of get your mind out of that space that is not very helpful, and start to enter into a new stage where you're doing something you enjoy doing, or trying something new. I think those are really important things to do, so that you can actually develop as well.
Hopefulness. It's always difficult to have hope, especially when you constantly feel like stuff isn't going according to plan. But I think in order to stay hopeful, it's a perspective change and a mindset shift, because the way, just don't view things one dimensionally. If you feel as though things are really going badly, then maybe, like she said, take a step back and then shift your perspective, and like stop focusing on what's wrong and instead try to look at what's right, even if it's one thing. But I think it just makes a difference to be able to see the small things. Then you start to notice that, okay, maybe it actually isn't so bad, and you can maintain hope for the future.
Yeah, like you say, you have like different perspectives, especially in your house. So, how you view a problem is not necessarily how other people would view a problem. And I think when we shift perspectives, it helps us understand or look at things from a different way. Where we're like, okay, for me, this is like terrible, this is like really, really bad. But then to you, it's like, oh no, it's just something that happens every day. And then it helps, I think, me or you in the situation just calm down and ease the nerves. Okay. What about self-talk? A lot of people I know talk to themselves in order to help them calm down or feel at ease. What is self-talk? What role does self-talk play in your life? Does it help or not so much?
I think something my mom always says is that your words have power. Like, if you speak words that discourage, that break, that destroy things, it really will. It really will. So I think definitely self-talk is so important. I personally find it in my life in a way of just giving a compliment to my little sister. My little sister always says my compliments are not like, they don't have any feeling towards them. But if I'm saying something, then it must be good, that kind of thing. She's like, you need to tell me I'm gorgeous, you need to tell me I'm this. I'm like, you should tell yourself that first, and then you'll believe it, That's my thoughts.
I think with self-talk, I have a very, my relationship with that has grown, because I know at a certain point, I was like, I was more of a fake it till you make it with confidence, and then I actually made it. And then from there, self-talk just became integrated into my daily routine. And I think I do it without even thinking of it. Like when you just look in the mirror, you're just like, yeah, this is nice. And I think those small actions just kind of change the way you see yourself, because as you manifest what you say, so the more you say, I do this, I'm good at this, it actually starts to happen. So I think with that self-talk, it plays a really important role in the whole basis of my confidence, because that's where it all started from.
Okay. Yeah, no, for me, I think self-talk is like number one way for me to relieve stress or anything, because I feel like I'm always talking to myself. But I think it also just helps like a relief disappointment when you face disappointment and failures and rejection. Is there maybe another way that you guys deal with disappointment or failure or rejection? When you feel like the world is kind of against you, or how do you cope with that? Or when you feel like you failed a test or exam, what are some ways that help you overcome those challenges?
I think for me, it's giving myself grace in terms of failure and rejection, and then making sure that I'm not wallowing indefinitely. So I'll give myself a grace period where I'm able to just let myself feel the upset or the hurt I feel, or else just allow myself to cry properly, and then afterwards I'm gonna look for a solution. So I think by kind of having a time where you give yourself time to be able to express yourself and just to be able to feel the emotions that you feel, and then not do that indefinitely and have a solution on how to remove that feeling or to be better. I think that's how I deal with rejection, and or even just feeling stressed or disappointed in myself.
I think I often take a step back from whatever I'm doing that is causing me. I know, like in matric, math was really killing me. Like, so I'll just be like, I think I'm done for the day, and then I'll just close the books, take a step back, listen to some music, crochet, do something to take my mind off of it. And then once I got back into that, I'm also a crier. I would really cry, like. But the thing is, well, I'm grateful for to have Victoria specifically. She would like say, "Stop crying, man! Like you're crying indefinitely. Like move on. Let's go. Let's keep going." So I think what you said, having a time period where you really feel those emotions, but then look on the bright side, keep it moving. Just have that sort of motivation to keep going despite it being not exactly what you had planned.
Yeah, stop saying like what you're currently facing as like the end. See it as like a means to an end, and just focus on like, I think I like how you mentioned that, where you process it. I think so many of us skip the part where we have to process what is happening to us, and we think of like, oh my word, this is the end, or like we bottle all of that up and we just have to keep going, and then to a point where it's like you can't bottle up anything anymore, and you act out on like either aggressively or crying all the time, being depressed, and then it kind of just goes into this path where this dark tunnel and you can't get out of it. So I like how you mentioned that and how it's important. And I think there are so many challenges that people face, especially at your ages, that a lot of people don't know about, or that's not talked about a lot. Are there any challenges that you feel that people should be more aware of? Maybe during high school or during varsity, or just where the stage where you are at currently in your life.
For me, with high school, I think people should be more aware of losing themselves, because I don't think you don't notice it happening until it happens, and then you've already changed completely. So I think it's a challenge which it doesn't appear as a big deal, because like, oh, maybe I'm just growing. But I think people need to be more aware of the difference between growing and the difference between changing, because growth doesn't mean you have to compromise your values or what you've believed in prior. It could mean growing in those. So I think that's a challenge which you often don't see coming, but when it comes, it's very easy to let it take over.
I think the challenge people my age face perhaps is hyper independence. Like I want to do everything alone. I want to not talk to my friends or my family or whatever the case might be. I can do it all on my own. You need an island. You cannot be an island. Sorry, you need a village. You need to have people who you can go to when something is not exactly right. And I do understand independence is important, but it shouldn't isolate you to a point where you don't know where to turn when something bad happens. or even if something good happens, then you're like, oh, I don't actually have anyone to tell. Like, that's kind of sad,
Yeah, no one to congratulate you or to support those small wins and get along. Wow, I actually never thought about that. Thank you for mentioning that both on both sides. It's so true. I think sometimes we get so caught up in ourselves that we forget that we have to, that there's other like things that we are. Like, for example, you're not just a student or you're not just a learner, but you are a sister, you are, a young woman, you are a friend, you are, there's so many things that you are, that we're not just, we so get focused on this one role that we lose track of all the other roles that we have in our lives. So our last question is, in your family dynamic, how can families create emotionally safe spaces for each other? Like, for our viewers out there who maybe are not so close to their family or who don't have that support in their family, how can they create that space?
I think for showing up in different ways and trying to kind of cater to how each person wants to be shown love. And it can only be done by asking. So I think if a family can actually take time to ask, okay, when you're in this situation, how do you feel loved in the situation? And sometimes it could be to give other space, because I know with my younger sister, she prefers space when she feels overwhelmed. I like to be surrounded with people. So I think just kind of finding a way to just cater. It doesn't mean that everyone has the same way of being relieved whenever they have stress, because everyone's different. So maybe your method might not be the same as mine, but I think by taking that time to actually ask and just get clarity, you can also build a different kind of connection where there is unspoken understanding, where you understand a person without having to say so, and they can feel your love without you having to do anything. So yeah,
I think really listening when someone is telling you something. My sister, our little sister, loves to talk about her day. And then when, for example, Victoria, she will lay it out from when she woke up to how she went to school and everything. Whereas my little sister, Samantha, she's like, the day was good. And if you try to pry into more, you kind of see she's starting to resist and hesitate, hold back. And you're like, okay, she'll let me know. But then when randomly she'll come and start talking your ear off. She'll be like, this and this and this happened, this and this and this happened. And maybe it's not exactly at the time that you would want to, hear all of these things. Maybe you're in the middle of something. But I think, as Victoria mentioned, just understanding how they want to be received. And then she's like, you guys don't listen to me, And then I'm actually like, we actually really don't listen to you in a way. Because when you are ready to speak, we are not longer listening, That's quite sad. So I'm actually hyper aware of that now, and I'm actually trying my best to listen when she feels ready, Yeah, that's what I would say. Just listen intentionally. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that is so true. I think I've experienced that in a lot of situations where I'm trying to talk to someone and they're on their phone busy, or they it just looks like they're just so uninterested. And then I think people who if you are talking to me and I'm doing that on my phone or whatever, then it shows I'm not interested. And then I remember that they remember that from if they want to talk about it next time, and then it kind of creates a barrier between, allowing them to know that you are a comfort space. You are someone that you can go to in times of need, and then that's also what adds to people bottling up. So I like how you mentioned that. Okay, our last question is, what is one message you want listeners to remember about resilience?
I think the message I would say, you don't have to go through anything alone. Literally, there's so many resources out there, from friends, people, even random strangers. You can tell them all your problems and they'll actually listen. You'll be surprised, I take the bus to work sometimes and the lady next to me just unloads everything. And I'm just like, okay, this is pretty cool. You just trust me, I'm a random stranger. And I think just in general, talking about things, not bottling up, it's so important. It literally relieves half the stress. And then also showing up for people that also need help, I think, is an important aspect of it. Don't only be a receiver, but also be a giver.
The final message I would leave for emotional resilience is that it looks different for everyone. and what you see as emotional resilience can by others can be seen as something different. So be it that yours might be you not showing emotion, or it might be showing emotion. Everyone has a different emotional resilience, and it's up to us to figure out what that is and to perfect that. So I think the message I just want to leave is that don't compare what strength looks for you to what it looks for other people.
Wow, that's powerful. Okay, so now we get to the fun part of our game, and we will be playing Who's Most Likely To. So our first question is gonna be, who's most likely to laugh at the wrong time?
That's every situation, funerals, all of that.
Ciao.
It's traumatizing.
I think I deal with like difficult situations by laughing, and it might not always be at the most appropriate time. Sorry.
That's okay. We understand. Okay. Who's most likely to start drama by accident?
I think the reason why by accident, because she would say something and then I'd be like, eh? And before you know it stirs up, but like she doesn't say it intentionally. It's the way she words things. Because I think in our house there's like a big wording problem where people just say things and I'm like, sure. And then so definitely you.
Yeah. Okay, I accept that.
So out of all the sisters, you're the one that starts the most drama.
Accidentally being the key word.
Okay.
Yeah. Not intentionally. Intentionally, definitely. Actually, I think Samantha is the one to definitely start it intentionally.
Then when you ask her, she's gonna be like, "Oh no, I'm not involved." And I'm like, "Oh wow,
okay."
Okay. Who's most likely to cry during a movie?
Ciara. The thing is, none of us are really criers, especially during a movie. Even if it's emotional,
Guys,
but you'd probably cry.
movies are so emotional. I'm sorry.
Okay, what about like, let me give an example, maybe The Fault in Our Stars, or Titanic?
Definitely crying.
You'd cry.
Yeah, I'd cry.
Wouldn't cry.
I would
Can't
definitely
lose
cry.
aura.
Ciao.
What if someone's recording you at the movie theater?
Who is recording you?
My aura's gone.
You see these type of thoughts.
Okay, it's okay to cry during movie theater. I don't know if anyone. Okay, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I cried during movie theater, but mostly because it was Harry Potter and it was the death of what was his name? Dumby, the little. Yeah, no, I cried my eyes out. My friends are laughing at me, but it's okay. Okay, who's most likely to take 100 selfies before choosing one?
Love pictures.
Yeah, she loves pictures. She loves any. That's why she thinks people are recording her like secretly. Because who actually thinks about that? Just a question.
I can't look chopped.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Usually there's only even one is a lot. Out of 100, I need to fill my storage, and I'll be like, oh, this one's not that bad. Then I take and give it, and then
Yeah, you need to at least have like a top 6.
Exactly.
You know? Like, people be watching.
The first one is always the one to go.
Okay, who's most likely to say I'm fine but is clearly not fine?
I think Sam.
Samantha is
No, Sister
my
Sam.
younger sister. I don't at all. If I'm not fine, everyone will know that I'm not fine.
That's true.
Wearing your heart on your sleeve. Noted. Who's most likely to start sibling fights?
I think it's definitely you.
Only because I'm not heard. As in, like, at first I'm gonna be like, guys, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. They dismiss me. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's do this in a way where everyone understands. And then we start a disagreement, a quarrel.
You know, the thing is, if there's been like peace for a couple of months, you just start like expecting, okay, she's gonna probably bring this up round about now.
Thing is, I'm collecting so that I can address multiple matters. So I see something and I'm like, yeah, let me write that down.
I actually wish you would just like confront us the moment it happens, because now with all
I
this
need a strong
collected
case.
now we're like, I forgot about that. That happened so long ago.
The stronger
like,
the case, the better.
no, we're not in courts.
You're loading up those bullets
Yes.
and then aiming at them. Okay, who's most likely to give advice but not follow it?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. I just feel like I'm a very wise person. You know, I have a lot of gems in there.
She
Yeah.
doesn't take her gems.
The thing is, they're not suited for me. You know, they're suited for everyone else.
I usually write down her advice so that when she goes against it, I can say, you actually mentioned this. And she'll be like, you're right. And I'm like, I know. Yeah, she doesn't follow her advice. And sometimes the advice is great, but she still doesn't follow it.
I was put on the spot right there. Okay, who's most likely to hold a grudge longer?
But Sam,
I don't hold grudges.
Vicky, you can
I
hold the
just-
grudge.
I just hold.
Mm-mm.
It's not a grudge. A grudge is a strong word. I just hold the pain for some time. And then I let it go.
No, you don't
After
let
they
it go.
apologize.
Mm-mm, no, she doesn't let it go. So we
If there's
have like
no
a
apology.
huge. I think she actually bottles stuff up because you like collect information. I've moved on, like genuinely. And then when the sorry comes, it's like sorry, and then she's like, but you don't mean it, and I'm like,
Because you don't.
I mean, it's not that I don't mean it, but like this stuff is not affecting me anymore. If you understand.
But sorry should be cinematic. That's how.
Child, she
Have
wants
you
us
ever
to
heard
beg,
my song?
cry,
No.
everything.
I
Like
just need to feel it.
I do feel it, but not in that moment. Sure.
Showing up with different companies.
Sure. Girl.
Okay, who knows the other one better? Who's most likely to know the other one better?
I know you.
I know you
better.
better. I swear I know you.
I know
From
you
top to
better.
bottom. I'm telling you, I know you.
Why?
I feel like I kind of like am in your mind in some ways. Like when we see the same thing, I literally look to you first before you even look at me. You know, I just feel like I can literally think in your
Whenever
mind.
you tell me a story, I can already imagine what you said before you say it. And then even when you exaggerate and you're like, I said this, also you shouldn't say that. It's like, well, I didn't say that. I know you very well. Actually, better than you know me.
I know you.
I feel like it's because I don't share everything.
The thing is, you also change your mind. You're very indecisive. I feel like that's why you think you know me better than I know you. Because one day you would say you love this thing so much, then the next when I actually get it for you, or like we do it, and like it actually wasn't really that fun. And I'm like, girl, I thought you said you love this thing, you know?
Oh, little indecisiveness. Okay.
Yeah, you're indecisive. You can own it.
So you guys both just know the other better then.
I know her better, yes.
I know her better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the hill I'm dying
I
on.
know her better.
Okay, who's most likely to stay calm in a stressful situation? That's side-eye.
Yes.
I'm very calm.
No. Like, whenever we drive and, like, there's a hump and we hit the hump, Ciara's like, and I'm just like, it's not that deep. And that it goes in every situation, every hump we occur. Like, it really stresses you. I don't know, maybe you feel like you're calm in your head because in your head you're calm, but in real life you're not.
No, let me tell you now. A hump is nothing in life. When the actual tea comes out, I'm the stoic one. I'm the one that's just like, okay, we can move past this. Let's move on to the next thing. Whereas you're like, oh, my life is falling apart. I'm like, girl, relax.
Okay, I can hear you.
So you're calm in like the situations that matter. Basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But the hump, I mean, yeah, those scare me sometimes because they can be quite high and very dangerous.
That is true.
Adrenaline.
Okay, who's most likely to overthink everything?
You.
I actually feel like it's you.
I don't overthink. I actually underthink.
I think you overthink. I'm too trusting. I
think I
Why do you-
underthink to the point where I'm overthinking.
what does that even mean?
As in, like, I'm overthinking, but I'm trying to be nonchalant and oblivious. So then I get to the point where, like, me being oblivious means that I've overthought this to, like, a different level.
Okay.
Whereas you, I feel like you're just, you're trusting. And
I think I give everything a good amount of thought. But if it doesn't need to take my thought, then I just stop thinking about it.
Yeah, no.
I think amongst us, Sam is the overthinker.
It's me.
I love how the other sister just comes into play because she's like shit herself now. Okay, who's most likely to avoid dealing with their emotions?
Sierra.
I think it's me.
Yeah, both of you, Sarah and Samantha.
Guys, emotions like take a lot out of you. I can't even lie. Sometimes you just genuinely don't have time. You're like, we'll deal with this later, you know.
I like crying, so I don't shy away. Even when I'm angry, I like enjoying my anger during that moment. I try not to get angry, but like, yeah.
You know, crying takes too long. That's the thing. Especially when you're busy. You're like, I know it's not
Can't
going to be
schedule a
5
cry.
minutes. It's not going to be 5 minutes. Because once you start, it's like you can't stop. So you're like, you know what? We'll do this tomorrow. And then you forget about it. Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
It's not, but yeah.
Okay, so between all of the sisters, who is your safe space?
My younger sister, because she listens to me and she doesn't say anything. And then, but like in terms of the older sisters, I think I'm their safe spaces.
Honestly, I think I disagree with that. Not that you're not a safe space. Yeah, for some certain things. But I think Sam is actually the go-to person.
Okay, that
She listens,
Samantha.
doesn't judge, and she'll keep whatever you say between the two of you. Because
that.
Vicky over here, yeah.
Only if it's life threatening.
Her definition of life threatening is very different to mine. Yeah, she'll just tell everyone what.
Not everyone.
Not
just
everyone,
your
but our parents. And sometimes, you know,
They're ops.
I wouldn't say they're ops, but like, you know, sometimes you just don't like them knowing this. And then now they know it, and you're like, oh, okay, now I have to explain this.
Yeah. Not
So
bad.
Sam.
Okay, so for the viewers out there that's watching, how old is Sam? So that they know what they're dealing with here.
Sam is 15, y'all. Yeah, she's a
Okay.
great friend. Great sister.
Okay. Okay, who's most likely to show up when it matters?
I feel like you always show up. I feel like I'm there when you need me.
I'm there whether
That's
it
the
matters
difference.
or not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
actually.
I feel like it's me because I show up when it matters. If it doesn't, then I don't need to be there.
But I think showing up is really important in
I
general.
understand that, but when it matters, I'm there.
But then I'm there all the time.
Yes.
And all the time matters. Because you know something minuscule can matter so much in the end. You're like, she was at every single practice, every single thing, that matters.
I guess. Yeah.
But I guess like we're all there. When it matters, we'll all be there.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm there every time. So yeah, that's better.
Who's more stronger than people think?
I think I am in terms of like what people think, because when they see Ciara, she's like put together and all of this, and everyone thinks that like I might be, I don't know, like not at that level. But I think people actually start to realize when they spend enough time with me that like I'm a lot stronger than I put off, because I feel like I'm always happy and energetic and I'm the loud one, so everyone's just like, oh, everything is going good for her. But like the stuff I go through, like I feel like people don't see that until they actually get to know me and they're like, wow, you have a lot of resilience.
That's true. I would agree with that.
Okay.
Everything she said.
Okay, and then the last one, who inspires you the most emotionally?
What are you thinking? Say the answer again. You can say my name, it's okay. They're gonna judge. They're gonna judge you.
Honestly, I think it's myself. Why are you looking?
Continue
I think
yourself.
I'm just joking now. I think it's actually you. You call me out when I'm out of order. And also I just feel like, yeah, you definitely help me to be more emotionally mature and stable, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you have on that?
My siblings are not a good source of emotional
Sure.
inspiration. But out of them, I think my second youngest sister. The reason why is because she's so herself, and sometimes I'm like, if only I should just start doing that as well, because like no one cares, and she like attracts a lot of people to her because everyone's just like, wow, she just does her own thing. Like after she leaves the place, everyone's like, oh, where is she going? And I'm like, she didn't even speak to me the whole time. She just does her own thing. So I think she kind of inspires me emotionally to just also learn that like I don't need people all the time, because I really do love being surrounded by people. So I think her, and then I think Ciara as well, because Ciara can go through a lot of situations, and sometimes I have like a short mind that this is the end of the world. Most of the time it really is, but like she helps me like bring it back and be like, you still have like a long time, and I'm like, okay, I understand.
That was cute. That was good. Okay, we're gonna end with one last question, and that is, what is one thing that you appreciate about each other that you don't say enough? So, Ciara, what is one thing you appreciate about Vicky that you don't say enough? Vicky, what is one thing you appreciate about Ciara that she doesn't say enough?
I actually appreciate Victoria's way in which she like goes about life. You know, she's just very herself, very confident. She knows who she is. And I also appreciate the way like she sets boundaries with people. That's like something that I'm a people pleaser. Like I'll just say yes or agree to anything, and then at the end of the day I'm stuck with it, and I'm like, but I appreciate how she like says no, how she just sets the record straight and is like, I'm not going to do that kind of vibe. It really inspires me because yeah, I'm recovering as a people pleaser.
I think for me, I appreciate that Ciara gives me money. I think it just it just shows you that like she really cares. But like on a serious note, I appreciate the fact that like I can feel like a little sister. Like sometimes I feel like we're always independent, but like I don't say it often. But like when I'm with her, I just feel like they can be irresponsible because I know she has me.
No.
So it's that thing where I'm like, oh, okay, I can just leave my phone on the table because Ciara's here. Like, whereas in public, everyone sees me as a responsible person. So I always tell my friends, I'm like, why do you guys think I'm responsible? Because if you see me at home, but Ciara is always like I can be a child, and then I just know if Ciara's there, everything's gonna be fine. Not in a cute way.
Oh, that was really, really.
You need to tell me that more, please.
Okay, well, that was it from us, from Giving Stream Podcast. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.
Bye.